Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi and hi. This is first time we are having career fair online. So please join us. Take the opportunity with us from 1st December until 15 December with many activities regarding graduate employability. You have the chance to meet the industry online, grooming, and there are many other activities related. So please visit Facebook CEM UPM for details and information. So don't forget to join us starting from 1st December until 15 December with the activities. So join us for better career. Yes,
Join us for better career.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi and hi. This is first time we are having career fair online. So please join us. Take the opportunity with us from 1st December until 15 December with many activities regarding graduate employability. You have the chance to meet the industry online, grooming, and there are many other activities related. So please visit Facebook CEM UPM for details and information. So don't forget to join us starting from 1st December until 15 December with the activities. So join us for better career. Yes,
Join us for better career.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan salam we love UPM buat semua. Pertama-tama saya mengucapkan selamat datang kepada para penonton, khususnya para pelajar Universiti Putra Malaysia ke program CE UPM Fest My Career at MOHI edisi 2020 yang berkolaborasi dengan Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi Malaysia. Hari ini telah masuk hari ketiga program ini berlangsung. Jadi saya mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada para penonton yang setia bersama kami. Apa khabar semua? Diharapkan semuanya berada dalam keadaan sihat sejahtera di samping keluarga tercinta. Sebelum kita memulakan bengkel kita pada petang ini, moleklah kiranya jika saya memperkenalkan diri terlebih dahulu. Yalah, pepatah pun ada mengatakan, tak kenal maka tak cinta. Saya Alia Wadina binti Masyuri, MC anda pada petang ini akan bersama-sama dengan penonton di rumah selama 1 jam 30 minit ke depan. Bersama-sama dengan kita juga pada petang ini adalah Mr. Ko Muihan. Apa khabar Encik? Sihat? Mr. Ko?
Selamat petang semua. Sihat.
Sihat. Jadi yang belum sedia maklum, Mr. Koh merupakan alumni Universiti Putra Malaysia sendiri dan beliau merupakan pakar dalam penggunaan platform LinkedIn ini. Oleh itu, jika terdapat sebarang pertanyaan atau kemusykilan, bolehlah langsung isikan di ruangan komen FB Live CEM UPM dan saya akan bacakan Q&A session pada Q&A session kita di sepanjang program kita berlangsung. Untuk itu jangan lupa untuk terus share live FB kita lagi dan lagi supaya lebih ramai yang akan mendapat manfaatnya. Untuk itu, tanpa kita membuang masa, saya mempersilakan Mr. Koh Mui Han bagi memulakan Get LinkedIn pada petang ini. Majlis dengan sukacitanya menjemput.
Okay, terima kasih Alia, and very good afternoon to all of you. Happy to be here, and of course, anytime doing any session for UPM is always good because this is my alma mater, and I'm an alumni, as you all were aware. So first and foremost, I want to congratulate all of you for investing your time to really improve yourself and to prepare for your career. I think that is very, very critical in today's very, very dynamic as well as competitive landscape. So very quickly, let me introduce myself. Besides saying that I'm an alumni of UPM, I'm a graduate of Food Science and Technology, BSTM, Bachelor of Technology, in year 2001. So almost 20 years the Graduan. And for the first 5 years of my life or career, or first 5 years after I graduated, I was in the food industry, working with one of the big multinational from Hong Kong, manufacturing brands like probably you know, things like New Zealand Milk, Horlicks, Quaker Oats, and yeah, so these are powder products that I was managing operations. But after 5 years of in food manufacturing, I decided to change my career. I went into first corporate training, training corporate managers how to be more effective, how to manage their staff better, as well as to bring better results to the company. And from corporate training, I went into HR advisory or HR consulting. So the last job I have before starting my own company, Change Dynamics Consulting, was with PwC advisory under the management consulting side, primarily looking at HR transformation programs and anything related to HR consulting. So that is my professional background. And how am I related to LinkedIn? Most of the people would associate me with somewhat title of a LinkedIn expert, but I want to qualify, I'm not really an expert, but more of a person that uses LinkedIn, as well as a person that feels that all undergraduates like you should be on LinkedIn. So I've spent last 3 years of my life actively going to different universities, sharing the story of why you all should be on LinkedIn. Although I'm not part of LinkedIn and LinkedIn don't pay me any salary to do this, but I feel that it's a platform that is very useful for myself even, and especially for undergraduates like you, all right? So that is roughly my introduction, and let me just share slides so that I can get to my topic proper. Okay. So this afternoon, being given an hour or so to really just share with you all on how to really get started on LinkedIn, as well as why you need to be on LinkedIn. And I thought maybe let's do a Q&A, and feel free to type in the comment section, whether you're watching this from Facebook or YouTube, any questions that you have with regards to LinkedIn, career opportunities, or career search, as well as how to be more effective in terms of personal branding, especially on online, right? So why LinkedIn to start with? That is a very important question. And this is one area I feel that most undergraduates like you misunderstand. Most of you would think that LinkedIn is another job portal or job site, just like any of the job portal that is posting jobs as well as you can put your CV there. So let me clarify, by definition, LinkedIn is not a job portal, right? So although it has a job portal function, because as you go on LinkedIn, you will see that there is job advertisements there, right? Which you can click and you can apply. But in entirely, the platform is not a job portal. Unlike some of the more famous job portal like JobStreet, JobsDB or WOBB, malkerja.com. These are pure job portal sites where you can see that there is an advertisement for jobs, and you can also put your CV there, your digital CV there, for the employers or recruiters to search whether you fulfill the criteria for the kind of people that they're looking for, right? LinkedIn has that function, but it is only, I would say, 20% maximum of that function into the total functionality it has. So what is LinkedIn after all? So LinkedIn is, by definition, a social media platform. And as any other social media platform, which you probably are very familiar with social media, equivalent will be things like Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube, Twitter, of course, TikTok is very popular these days, and so on and so forth. So the focus on LinkedIn, therefore, needs to be social, right? Because it's a social media platform, and you are here to socialize with other people. And it is not just socialize with anybody, but more specifically, this platform typically attracts two types of people. The first type of people are the people looking for jobs, job seekers, right? Like some of you will become soon, or even next year. And the other group of people is people who are recruiting. They are trying to look for people to fit into their organization, to their businesses, and so on and so forth, right? So in a way, it's like a recruiting platform, but it's a recruiting social media platform, right? So if you Google LinkedIn, that's why that is how they have tagged it even in the meta text, as you can look at it, right? So why do you then need to be on LinkedIn, right? And that is a very, very important question. And I wanted to just look at the bigger picture. I don't know how many speakers throughout this festival are going to cover this, but I want to cover this because I think it's very, very critical. One of the realities today in Malaysia is we have a lot of graduates. In fact, annually, and this is from KPT, we have about 300,000 graduates from Malaysia universities, both from IPTA and IPTS on an annual basis. And post the tracer study is the one that we do before you, during convocation rather, to see if within 6 months how many of you are employed and whether do you are employed dalam bidang ke, keluar di bidang ke, to see whether whatever you have pursued in university fits the industry or even fits you to find a job. And you can see startling numbers across different faculties at different universities. Of course, averagely, I'm very proud that UPM, we are one of the highest, among one of the highest graduate employability. But nevertheless, if you still look at it, there is a significant percentage of graduates today, even from UPM, are unemployed 6 months after their graduation, right? Or 6 months after their final paper. So if you follow the numbers, roughly is about 80,000 to 100,000 youth today that is unemployed after 6 months. And this number is very consistent even before 2020. Of course, 2020 is a very, very special year due to COVID and MCO. But before COVID and MCO, we already have a staggering high number of unemployed undergraduates or fresh graduates rather, right? So there are multiple reasons for it and multiple studies for it. which I won't get into it. But I just want to remind everybody that this is the reality, and why this reality is important for all of you to really think and remember, whichever level you are today, whether you are a second-year student, third-year student, final-year student. This is one thing that you need to keep in mind, because this will orientate how you behave throughout university, right? So the story here is this. Why is there high number? It is also because as a country, the number of people that is needed to support our businesses and industry, especially at a graduate level, it is not as significant as what we are able to produce. That's one. Number two is there's of course also a mismatch in a way, right? So again, I say I don't want to dwell into the reasons, but more important, I want to just share that out as a reality. And with this reality, therefore, as undergraduates or as fresh graduates, you got to really differentiate yourself to get the job that you want. Reason being is competition is intense. And this 300,000, mind you, has not been taken into account yet. Our Malaysian friends who went to overseas to study in the overseas university, and I would say roughly about 80 to 90% of them who go to overseas for studies, for their degrees, will come back to Malaysia to work. So they don't have a number for that. Reason being is foreign university do not divulge data of how many Malaysians are in their university due to multiple laws. But in a guesstimate sense, it still be in tens of thousands. In fact, my own estimate is about 50,000 of these people. So on annually in that sense. So with that in mind, you are really fighting a very huge competition, right? So to do that, my belief, when I graduated 20 years ago from UPM, I could finish my degree in 3 years, do all the activities that I feel that I will learn a lot of things. And I was very active and was in university. I was in K10, College Keseplo, as an MTM, you know. I was also active in my faculty, active in clubs and societies and things like that. And when I finished my 3-year study, then I decided that I can only start looking for a job or thinking of the job that I want to do the necessary process, apply for a job, go for an interview, and then get the job. But reality in today, I believe you can't do that anymore. Or if you do that, it will take a very long time for you to secure the job. That is why you will hear from your seniors that some of them 4, 5, 6 months before they secure a permanent job that they want. Okay, and this is not an anomaly. In fact, it is quite common. Some may need to apply up to 200, 300 positions before they even get 1 or 2 interviews. And this is also very, very common. So my point being here is competition is intense. And with COVID and also MCO impacting economy landscape, it is getting more intense, especially if you are graduating in 2021, right? So to do that, you need to elevate yourself. And by elevating yourself, what do I mean? You can use a platform like this as LinkedIn, right? So what I wanted to do is quickly just run through you what are the strategies that you can use to actually do that. But more importantly, because of the time limit I have this afternoon, I won't be able to cover all the nitty-gritty of techniques and as well as what you need to do for your LinkedIn profiles. I would really invite all of you, or even encourage all of you, to subscribe to a Telegram channel that I created on Telegram. You can look at the QR code and scan that, which describes all the techniques that I've researched, tested, and tried for undergraduates, right? And it's almost a step-by-step, and I also recorded short videos for the individual techniques. And if you subscribe to this channel today, the beauty of it is you can scroll up to the first posting all the way. That's the beauty of Telegram channels. From what we have started to share, until today, right? So on an average, every week, I put about 2 to 3 postings on a different technique or a different angle, right? So feel free to actually subscribe to this and get the materials there or content there in detail, right? But today I will just cover mainly broadly. So the movement Prime for Success is started as what I call a CSR for my company because one of the issues that I have as a HR consultant is when I meet HR directors, HR managers, business people, CEOs, COOs, they have this consistent complaint about our undergraduates or fresh graduates. And more sakit hati, yang paling sakit hati is when they say, oh, IPTA punya graduan memang susah nak kita ambil pasal this and this and this, right? So I've been hearing about this grievances for years, okay, for multiple years. And anytime I meet them and then they tell me this, I just have to keep quiet because I'm also a proud product of IPTA Graduan. I'm a UPM graduate myself. But the more I listen to it, sometimes I find that some of the complaints are unwarranted, but some of them are valid as well. And I felt very helpless, in fact, not to be able to do anything. And of course, no point being defensive anyway, because reality is such, some of their points are valid too. So on the other hand, I also found that I'm able to still talk to university students. In fact, from time to time, I'm given opportunity to go give talks. So I said, maybe I should connect the two. And in 2017, about this time, actually, end of November, early December, I decided to create this program called Prime for Success. And basically, this program has one function and one function only, which is to come to universities and to teach all of you that knowing your stuff is important, but professional networking, branding is even more important, right? Which I want to put it in tandem. So I want to put it in perspective that you need to have the content and the substance. That means you need to know your stuff. But at the same time, knowing your stuff is not good enough. You need to know how to market yourself, your capability, your experiences, not when you graduate. You need to start the marketing now, right? And I find that the best place to do that is on LinkedIn, right? So which I will explain it, right? So over the course of 3 years from 2017 until now, I've covered more than 22 Malaysian university, 6 IPTA, the other 40% IPTS. See the event. I've talked to more than 6,500 students. In fact, in UPM, then multiple times. I'm also one of the adjunct professor for my faculty in FSTM, and we also run this session annually since 2 years back, right? And during this MCO period, I also have run 18 virtual sessions, okay, varying from almost 3,000 odd viewers or audiences, not including today. Today, probably, since it's a Facebook Live, harder to gauge how many of you are watching this, right? So why is LinkedIn and why is it important? I think I cover a bit, but more important to share with you is your LinkedIn profile is what we call your online first impression. And having this first impression is critical because I'm sure there's many other slots or many other speakers or even other workshops that you have probably attended on learning how to write CV, learning how to write a proper cover letter, and so on and so forth. So reality is this today, and this is very common. If you decide to apply for a job and you put in your CV and your cover letter and you do the best in-class CV and cover letter based on all the workshops that you attended and all the advisors that you get, and then for whatever reason, let's say the employer or the recruiter get very impressed with your CV and say that possibly you are a very good fit for the company, let's call you up for an interview, like how the normal process is. There's one additional process in between that happens in today's digital world, right? Which is basically the recruiter or the hiring manager will try to look for you online, right? And of course, the easiest way is to Google who you are. So one thing that I encourage all students to do, and I do it myself, you should have this practice of audit your online presence. Do Google your name on a monthly basis and see what Google results show, right? And very interestingly, if you put your full name in Google and if first page, first top 3 searches is not you, then you need to work harder to position yourself online to ensure that page 1, the top 3 searches is you. And not only you, it should be referring to a link that is positively positioning you, right? In fact, if you can point to your your LinkedIn page, your LinkedIn profile will be great because that is where you want to impress professionally. But if that's point to your Facebook, your other social media, or that is where we advise you to be very careful of what you share and what you post on your social media, right? Simple reasons like this, right? Just to become more careful, although I understand social media is your private space, but nevertheless, impression counts. Impression counts. So with that, what you can do differently? What you can do differently? Of course, I teach a technique. Yes,
I'm
Alia,
sorry
is
for
there a question
interrupt.
there?
But there is a question from Shahira
Okay.
Alias. She asked, where can I go to set up my LinkedIn page first? Because
So yeah. So the very fact that that question, okay. Thank you for that innocent question. But in today's world, it's very easy. You just Google LinkedIn and set up an account, right? So it's just as easy as that, all right? So just go to Google, type in LinkedIn, right? And they will ask you to sign up, and you sign up with an email account, and then the necessary information is needed, right? Hope that answers the question, right? Right. Is there any
one
question,
more.
other question, Alia?
Yes, one more. From Shazana Jamil, she asks, do the people that I personally connect with automatically become followers of my company page?
So there's no company page, let me clarify, all right? Unless you set up a LinkedIn company page or your LinkedIn organization page, all right? It's a LinkedIn account, just like a Facebook account, all right, to start with. And if you do connect with anybody on LinkedIn, yes, the answer is they automatically become your followers, right? And LinkedIn allows you to connect up to 30,000 connections, all right? And at 30,000, the limit, and beyond that, it needs to be just followers, okay? Any other questions?
So far, no, Mr.
Okay,
Ko.
if not,
You can proceed.
yeah, let me continue. Right. So that is the point that I wanted to make sure that you are healthily positioned virtually, because employers today do actually do search on you if they are interested to call you up for an interview. Although whatever they see in the search may not defer their decision not to call you, but it will give them an impression of who you are, and that impression may be very helpful or may be very challenging in that sense, right? So that is why you need to be very careful of what your representation is, or what they technical people call persona is on virtual platforms, right? But this way, I find that if you're able to be active on LinkedIn and you position your LinkedIn profile well, your LinkedIn profile will always come up on page 1 of your Google search. And when you come up on page 1 of Google search, you're able to really ensure that any search that look for you, it points there. And when it points there and they click there, everything is in order, right? So that is important. So if you do have an account, because if you ask me how to set up an account, then I get very worried. But you can easily learn how to set up an account. I'm sure if you don't know how to do that, you can just go onto Google and YouTube. There's also step by step. But in my class, I don't teach you how to set up an account, because to me, that is just too basic. Setting up a LinkedIn account is just like setting up a Facebook account, a YouTube account, a TikTok account. It is almost dummy proof. There is But more importantly is once you set up account, you need to do these 5 things, which I want to quickly run through, then open it up for Q&A. First and foremost is to make sure that your profile on your account looks professional, right? And to do that, there are a few elements that you need to fulfill, right? First and foremost, this is how your profile will look like, okay? And for those who have a profile, then you know what I'm talking about. For those who don't, please do get one as soon as possible because it's critical, it's really critical. And I'll share some stories later. Why is it critical, right? So there are a few components in your profile that you should have professionally. First is what we call your profile photo, which is in your circle. Because the photo is the first thing that most people see, and this photo is critical to ensure that you portray the kind of professionalism and the kind of confidence that when people see your photo, they want to connect with you, right? And this profile photo is very different from the profile photo that you put in Instagram, you put in Twitter, or you put in Facebook, or even TikTok for that matter, right? Because in those other platforms, it's a fun platform. But in this platform, it's a professional corporate business-like platform. So it's important that to ensure you have that kind of professional, right? So some of the tips to give you is, number one, make sure that this photo that you put there is very recent. In fact, try to keep it updated every 6 months or 1 year, whichever applies, right? Try to put the photo that is just you, your face, looking into the lens, okay, to take that picture. Not of you doing something else, right? So we are interested to see you as a person, and seeing you as a person needs to see your face, right? Second most important criteria, and I think a lot of you miss this out, is that your face to cover about 60% of the frame, right? Reason being is most of us search for you using our phone. And if your face is not 60% of the frame, it will look very small and we cannot see you, right? That is criteria 2. Criteria 3 is your expression, okay? Learning to smile when you take a photo is both easy and yet difficult, right? A lot of us think that we can do it, but when we take that photo, we find that actually we don't come out so natural. So learning to smile naturally, in fact, learning to smile naturally is important because this photo must need to exude that kind of approachability, warmth, and even positiveness as we look into your photo, right? That's third point. Fourth point is what you wear. Try to keep it professional. You don't need to do it formal, but you can keep it as formal as how would you dress to work, okay? Because ultimately, you are using this profile to secure a job. That is the intention, right? For those of you who want to become entrepreneurs, you don't want to work for other people, LinkedIn has also been proven to be useful for entrepreneurs, right? People like myself, I run my own business, and LinkedIn is also a very good platform for me to actually market my services, because ultimately, of course, my clients are also professionals in that sense, right? So that is criteria number 4. So be dressed professionally. And last criteria is to make sure your background between you, your face, and what is behind you, there's a bit of contrast, and make sure that your background is not so messy or not so cluttered in that sense. So we want to keep a simple background so that you can see the contrast of your face and then we can see your face, right? So that is. So secondly, we want to talk about headline on LinkedIn, and headline is where if you don't amend this headline, LinkedIn will take your most recent position. And for all of you, probably are students of a particular universities. So the worst headline or the most boring headline is to be having there written student of Universiti Putra Malaysia, right? So don't get me wrong, being a student of Universiti Putra Malaysia is not bad, but having a headline that says that you're a student of Universiti Putra Malaysia in my opinion, is not so good. Not so good, not reason because why? Because function for search, which I will talk about search in a short while, and putting in the right keywords in your headlines is critical. So altogether, there's 120 characters on the LinkedIn headline, and you need to choose the keywords which you think that your potential employers would search for. Okay, so one safe bet is to put the discipline of your study, but don't put the entire name of your program. So for instance, like my program, I study food, Bachelor of Food Science and Technology bracket honors, right? So don't write that on your headline, but just put there either food science or food technology done. Or even you can even simplify further, put food tech. Yeah. Reason why is because there's 120 characters. You want to maximize it. You want to save the characters for other more important words. Okay. So part one or one part of your headline should always be your discipline that you study. Okay. So if it's chemical engineering, you can put chem engineering or chem eng, or if it's E&E, electrical and electronic, you can put E&E. If it's business admin, you can put business, or you can even put BBA. If it's economics, you can put economics. If it's human development, you can put human development, and so on and so forth, right? Part one. Part two is also to illustrate the industry that you want to work for, and I will emphasize this because that will be a very specific industry people that is looking for you. And this is where different programs have different emphasis, because some of your programs have a direct path. So for those our friends in the veterinary faculty, the path is almost clear that you will move into very veterinary driven kind of roles, veterinary related. If not, you are vet yourself, you could be working in the animal health ecosystem or industry, so to say. But there could be other programs that is much more generic, which you can go anywhere. For instance, business admin, you may not have a particular progression to industry kind of path, or even if you do a basic science degree in chemistry, in physics, in biology, microbiology, biochemistry, all of that don't have a direct industry path. So there's only a handful of courses or programs in our universities that have a direct path, right? But most of them do not have, right? That is where you need to start define what type of industry that you want to go to. So for instance, if you do chemical engineering, you got the option of go into oil and gas, you got the option of to go to petrochemical industries, you can have option go to plastics industry, you get an option to go to even food industry, or even I see many chemical engineers today go into the glove manufacturing industry, right? So putting that keyword in your headline is important. So if let's say you want to go oil and gas, put O&G there. If you want to go plastic, put plastic there. If you want to put go to glove, just put glove there. Why you need to do so is because that will help to attract those recruiters in that industry to actually find you. And you are literally trying to associate yourself into that industry, right? Now, can you put more than one? Definitely you can. But the caveat is you only have 120 characters to play with. So you need to make sure that you optimize it. And the last part of this headline, of course, is I always advise students to do what we call uniquely you. So put something that is what is very special about you, and you can put your achievements. So if you represent the university for a particular sports, you represent the university for a particular program, a competition, an event, yeah, put it there, because that recognition is actually very, very useful. So I see a lot of my students that I teach, especially in the in private universities, they will put there, Unilever Business Challenge finalists, or HSBC Business Case champion. So that putting that itself actually will attract a lot of attention, and that also gives a lot of credential to who you are as a person of your capabilities, right? For more technical people, you can also put the technical skill set that you have. So for instance, those in engineering, again, if you have AutoCAD, you can put there, SolidWorks, MATLAB. For those computer science, you can put Python, Java, C++, all right? Why do you put all these keywords? Because these skill sets are the ones that employers are actively looking for, right? So if you are in accounting and you've done any professional paper, you can put there ACCA and CPA and so on and so forth, right? So that are the keywords that you can put in, okay? Next portion is what we call about section. They used to call this section summary, but they decided to change the name to about. Reason being is if you put summary, then we will summarize it. So just one clear distinction is this section shouldn't be confused with the CV summary or the CV career goals, because your LinkedIn profile is not your CV. Can I repeat that? Your LinkedIn profile is not your CV, right? So here you have about 2,000 characters, and I will encourage you to maximize these 2,000 characters, right? And what do you do with these 2,000 characters? Tell stories about yourself, right? In fact, if you can tell 2-3 paragraphs of stories about yourself, your achievement, your experience, your learning, it'll be very, very powerful. I would suggest that you treat this like what we call the elevator pitch, right? If you don't know what is an elevator pitch, do Google this 90-second elevator pitch to introduce yourself, right? And this is the written format, right? And when it's an elevator pitch, always keep it in first party. Don't put there your name. Mui Han is one person. No, say I am a person that is very, interested in leadership. In my 3 years or 4 years in UPM, I always held leadership positions as I was the MTM member for my residential college, which hosted more than 2,000 residents, right? And as the vice president of the college 10, one of my major responsibility was to ensure the welfare of our students was taken care. And it was really, really challenging because with 2,000 residents, everyone had a different need and wants. So you tell a story, right? And why you tell this story is to ensure as people want to know you or get to know you, see the different facets of you. And this is one area where you can tell your story in a more descriptive manner, which your CV can't do. Because in CV, we will tell you, or your resume will tell you that keep it concise, 1 sentence or 2 sentences, get straight to the point, show impact, right? But you know, as human beings, we are more emotional rather than rational. So we are emotional first, then rational second. And only how to touch the emotional sense of your future employers is to tell them a story about yourself. That is why the interview session is for, right? To get you to come to really qualify you as a person, some of your thought process, some of your emotional thinking process, and so on and so forth, right? So this 2,000 character space, we really encourage you to maximize it. So talk about your clubs and societies involvement, talk about your final year project, So just don't describe your final year project. Describe your challenges during your final year project. Describe your learning during your final year project, right? Describe your internship or latihan practical experience, all right? If you feel that cannot share the company's name because of sensitivity, don't need to, but share what you learned in that 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 16 weeks, whichever that applies, right? Share the qualities that have molded you. Share your experiences to show that you have that kind of what we call competency, that kind of behaviors, that kind of attitude, right? So take this space and maximize it. So please do not summarize, right? I repeat, please do not summarize, because we've seen in the past tend to summarize this. So the next portion of being looking professional profile is, of course, to make sure that you fill up this portion of experience. And I want to take this opportunity to tell you some other perspective. It is important that you document your internship experience here. And I know most of you would have minimum 1 internship experience when you graduate, right? So the other reason I realized, and I realized this when I was in PwC, one of the big four was, why foreign graduates, why Malaysian who went to foreign university, when they graduated, when they come back to Malaysia, they get jobs faster and easier than our local graduates, right? Of course, we can complain about reputation of the university and so on and so forth. But I want to just point you to our QS ranking, our university ranking. Our local university rankings these days are very, very impressive. In fact, very proud of UPM. We are almost one of the top in terms of Malaysian universities in terms of QS ranking. Okay, notwithstanding University Malaya, of course, right? With that in mind, why do then foreign graduates get better placement or better preferences, right? Of course, there is some elements of prejudice in them, in the hiring world, but more than that, this is the competitive advantage that they have, which I find that most local university graduates do not have, is the number of internship experience they have are usually minimum 3, 4, or 5, right? So in their 4 years of study or their 3 years of study, whichever apply, every long semester break, they will make it a point to actually do an internship, right? Or even for short-term basis, 1 month or 2 months, or even the entire holidays for the 3 months. So by the time they graduate, they would have at least 3 or 4 internship experience. And some of these internship experience are within the field of study, within the industry that they want to. Some of them are not, right? So they go beyond the university's mandatory requirement to do internship. And sometimes some of these internship are even unpaid because that's not they're not promoting year yet or not final year yet. They are just in first year and they decide to go for internship, right? So they want to enhance exposure or even just to pick up some experience. So yeah, they don't even get an allowance or they get a minimum allowance, which in that sense. So this one area which I think as IPTA students, I think you could do this differently. And I really encourage all of you to look at this option, right? I know that you all are very busy during semester, and during semester break, then you want to relax, and you want to take a break, which is important. But because of the competitive nature of today's employment world, I would really encourage you to consider to do more than 1 internship during your 3 or 4 years of study, right? In fact, the more the better, right? And today, we even during COVID season, we even have organizations or companies offering virtual internships, right? I was just talking to one of the multinationals. They were actively looking for, so any one of you who are in your 3rd year or final year of early childhood study, please do get in touch with me on LinkedIn because there's opportunity for virtual internship, which I think is very exciting with a multinational, all right? Won't name which one, but yeah, do drop me a message if you are keen, right? So this is to really document all your internship experience, and if you do have part-time experience, you can also put it here. But please do not document the task. So for instance, one of the probably popular part-time jobs is becoming a barista in Starbucks, for instance, right? So if you just put a job description of a barista in Starbucks in the experience section, it is actually not very, very impressive, right? But what you can do differently to make yourself stand out is to really describe in a very valuable or impactful sense, what have you gained and learned from Starbucks? So for instance, right, you put down there Starbucks Malaysia, Starbucks Coffee Malaysia, and let's say January 2021 to June 2021, all right? You do a 6 months part-time, right? Every weekend you become a barista in Starbucks in the branch near your house or near your university, whichever apply, right? And then you put there as a barista, you know, you basically you have your job description which you got when you apply for the job, and you can just copy and paste that. But don't copy and paste that. Rather, I want you to talk about what important things that you have experienced and learned during your part-time exposure. So for instance, if I were you and I did a 6 months part-time job in Starbucks Malaysia, I will talk about the Starbucks culture of putting client or customer centricity, because you know that customer service in Starbucks is one of the best in the retail world. And being a part-time crew with them over the 6 months, you have effectively learned how to portray excellent customer service, because you are also trained, you are also exposed, and day in, day out, you practice this as you do work there. So if you want to highlight anything significant, although it doesn't sound like a very significant achievement, but this quality of customer excellence or customer centricity, it is something that most companies are looking for in their fresh graduate as well, especially for roles that are client facing or client servicing, right? So describe your experience in Starbucks if you're doing part-time barista in that fashion or manner, rather than to say you prepare coffee and you serve coffee and as a cashier, blah, 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 and things like that, right? Similarly, if you do part-time job in McDonald's, in Tesco, in, you know, cashier as one of the departmental stores and so on and so forth, right? Some of you do that, and I really applaud you for taking up part-time jobs, both getting an additional source of income, but as well as to see firsthand, even when you're studying, what it's like in the working world, which is very admirable, right? So don't just list the tasks. Put an impactful statement of what you have gained and realized during that, okay? So that is for experience. I have some structure, but I don't think I want to talk about it. There is also a portion on, if you go all the way down, okay. Alia, is there a question? Yeah, yes.
From Saudari
stop here.
Hana Hazri, she asked, if we have our own startup, should we put the name of our startup or the niche that we provide at the headline, sir? That is the question.
So if you have your own startup, I would suggest that you can in the headline focus on the niche rather than the name of your startup, because unless your startup is very popular, then it's very different, right? So, but nevertheless, your startup name would already appear in your experience, right? So you can put it down there in your experience, describe your startup, what it is, but in the headline, you may want to just focus on the niche, right? So if your startup is focusing on creating easy access to finance, is a fintech, right? You can put that you can put fintech. In fact, you can put fintech, or you are offering anything in the education technology. You can put edutech. You can put agri-tech. You know, these words can be very attractive as a headline, right? So hope that explains. Any other question?
Question from Noraini Muhammad Nordin. She asked, if we upgrade LinkedIn account to premium, does it help to increase the chances of getting job offer?
Oh, premium, is it? Premium?
Yes, premium account.
Right. So benefit of not working for LinkedIn is I will help not to promote LinkedIn premium account. So, but more seriously, although I have a premium account, but as undergraduates, my advice is you don't need a premium account, okay? Because it doesn't serve the purpose of employability. Premium account has a few benefits. For instance, you can connect with people, or you can message people that you're not connected to. But there's also a limit up to 45. I think I got 45 credit every month. You can have access to LinkedIn Learning, the e-learns. Of course, some of them are very useful, but yeah, you may not be able to access all of them unless you are very, I say, dedicated e-learn practitioner, because they found that e-learning adoption is still challenging in most sense, in most communities. And then, of course, the other benefit is to hide yourself. If you search for somebody, somebody wouldn't know that you are searching for them. But again, I find that the benefits of all this does not justify the cost that is incurred, because the premium account on an annual basis, I think, is about 550 USD. That works out to be about 2,000 ringgit, 2,000 odd ringgit, which, you can better spend that money doing other things. So my advice to all fresh graduate or undergraduate, you do not need a premium account. Hope that answers the question. Right. So one last portion to make your profile looks professional is to go all the way down to include all these categories. If you can see there, publication, if you have done any publication or journal, put it there. You have any patent, put it there. You have attended any courses, you can also include it inside. Most important, your projects. So your final year project, your clubs and society project, your faculty project, your NGO project that is out of university, please include all of that. And if you see in my profile, I've included all my commercial projects. In fact, I got 20 of them. And every one of the projects, I give very detailed description, right? So the more details you give, you will enrich your searchability. And why I really encourage people to do this is because personally myself, based on this listing of projects, got a very, very big job offer, or very, very big assignment offer, or consulting assignment offer. And turns out to be very lucrative, and I finally fulfilled it. So just by listing it here, right? And the best part is by doing it here, everything happened within a week. So within 1 week, the person saw my profile, LinkedIn messaged me, scheduled a phone call, and then got me the meeting with the project director in KL here. And this one came all the way from UK, right? Went to meet the project director for 2 hours of interview, and then asked me to take another phone call for another interview with another director from US. And then following day, I started the assignment, right? So all within 1 week, which is tremendous speed in our industry. So I really encourage all of you to put as much details as possible. And the benefit again is, as compared to your CV, you cannot do that in your CV. Your CV will appear even to describe your project. Let's say your final year project will still be your title and a short description of your project. And that short description probably is 1 sentence or 2 sentences maximum. Here you can, I think the maximum is 1,002 characters. You can really go wow. And if you look at mine, I really put as much details as possible, right? And this is very, very useful, and I really encourage you to do that, right? So that is the first strategy that I've covered, right? To have a professional looking profile, right? So these are the elements that I covered. Of course, as you sign up, for those who are new, LinkedIn will ask you to fill up as much information as possible in the different sections, and they will track you by giving you an all-star status, okay? So what is the difference from an all-star status and no all-star status? All-star status will be achieved once you fill in all the information in all the section that is required. And if you do not do that, you don't get your all-star status. And the difference is all-star status profiles get greater visibility compared to those who are not all-stars, right? So LinkedIn penalizes you if you do not complete your information on your account, right? So so that's a difference, right? So please do that, and yeah, so before I go to the second portion of this, why I want to maybe reiterate why you need to do that is, I have seen enough case study of undergraduate students to use this platform to connect with professionals, right? And many of them succeed beyond my comprehension in the beginning. But the more I look at them, the more I believe all of you should also be like them, right? You have this unique opportunity to connect with corporate leaders of Malaysia today, interact with them, get to know them, and more importantly, allow them to know you, or give them opportunity to know you, so that by the time you graduate, you have at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 references to ask this question. Can I get your understanding of what is the job market like? Or can I get your understanding of how the industry is doing? And if I want to look for a job, what do you think will be the best place? So getting a referral, in a sense, not your referee in terms of the one you put in your CV, but getting a point of reference to get understanding of the types of job that you can apply for, and as well as where you should focus your attention, is really the competitive edge, right? So I challenge all of you out there watching, especially if you're undergraduate, if do count, taking out your family members, how many corporate managers that you know currently, right? And if your answer is less than 10, all right, you need to increase this number all the way up to maybe 20 or 30 by the time you graduate, okay? So, and when I say how many you know, doesn't mean that you know who they are. Like, for instance, we all know who Tan Sri Tony Fernandez is. I know him. I also know Tony Fernandez, but Tony Fernandez don't know me. Right? So when I say no, they also know you. That's the definition, right? Point being here is, we want you to start thinking or start initiating contact with these professional corporate managers, as many as possible, so that they will help you to shape your thinking, your mindset, and prepare you for your job search journey. And you need to do that wherever level you are. In fact, if you are final year now, you critically need to do that. If you're third year now, wonderful, you should start as soon as possible. Start today, not as soon as possible. And if you're second year now, then you are very fortunate because you got this message much earlier than most of your senior, right? So building professional relationship when you're still in university, it's critical. And why do I push forward that you should do this on LinkedIn is, I can safely say, although I don't have the exact data or numbers to show, but I can safely say there's a very small percentage, probably less than 2-3% of undergraduates interacting with professional managers on a platform like this, on like LinkedIn, right? So most of you will interact, if you're on LinkedIn, will interact with your friends, will interact with your lecturers, and full stop. But you do not interact with professional managers, right? So even when all my time on LinkedIn, I would say, of course, my post is skewed towards all of you. If you look at my LinkedIn posts, they are always about undergraduate and graduate employability. But even the more professional posts, I would say those who engage and comment in my posts, there will be less than 5% of them are students and undergraduates. Of course, you can argue to say that the post seems irrelevant to you. That's why nobody engaged. But that's not my point. My point is not to talk about whether the professional manager's post is relevant or not relevant to you. My point is, you need to make an effort to be noticed, and making that effort is to really interact on a social media platform like this. Because number one, it is almost disarmed, it's almost safe, and you can get opportunity to really bring this relationship from online to offline. Okay. So with that, once you have a professional profile on LinkedIn, I will really encourage you on a weekly basis. I usually say daily, but these days I know daily it seems very challenging, to really connect with professional managers. So as I was saying, there's a search button. If you go to LinkedIn profile on the top left, right? I do think of a company that you want to work for, right? And you type in the company. So for instance, you want to work for Maybank, you want to work for CIMB, you want to work for Sime Darby, you want to work for Petronas, okay? Just think of the company, right? And once you type in there, the search result will list that the professional managers that is working in these companies, all right, will be listed. And these are the people that you should start thinking, who are the ones that you should connect with, so that you can start building a relationship today. And by the time you graduate in, let's say, 12 months, 20 months, 24 months, or 36 months, whichever apply, you can actually ask them some friendly questions, all right? Don't ask them for a job, but ask them some friendly questions. Reason why don't directly ask for a job is also based on courtesy, all right? One of the things that most professionals on LinkedIn tell me that they don't like is you send a connection invite, and once they accept your connection invite, first question you ask, hello sir, thank you for connecting with me. Is there any vacancy in your company? It's like, hello. Like I always say, kalau nak kahwin pun kena pinang dulu. Jangan nak bincang berapa anak nak ambil. So please be more human and not so transactional. And the whole idea is a social media platform. Social media platform here then means socialize. The keyword is social. So socialize, build relationship. So just check with the guy, with the professional manager, what he or she do if it's not well described in the profile, and also maybe just send a word of thanks to say that, thank you for accepting me. I really look forward to follow you more and to read more of your posts so that I can learn more from you. And then you could also ask permission upfront to say, is that possible that I have any questions to ask you, especially with regards to corporate world, so that I can understand better to prepare when I graduate so that I can effectively get a job, right? So you don't even need to talk about getting a job in their organization, right? So that is something that I find most undergraduates don't do or don't do enough. So if you have not done this before, I would really encourage you to try today, right? Because that would really make a difference in your job search. Yeah, so when you hit the connect button, LinkedIn will prompt you to say either connect straight or you can send a personalized note. So I will encourage all of you to send a personalized note. Personalized note increase the chance of acceptance by up to 50%. And if that person is your alumni like me, right, you can actually use the alumni as a basis to connect. So I come up with a standard template for you to actually model. Don't just copy and paste, but you can model after this. So you say, dear so-and-so, I see that you also are alumni of UPM, then you hashtag Berimu Berbakti, because that's our university tagline. If you're from other universities, just put your own university tagline. But also some university, I find that you don't have an equivalent tagline, so sometimes also need to find, right? So you talk about who you are, and then always talk about you want to learn more from this person, right? And most Malaysian managers, corporate managers out there, which I've talked to, they have a soft spot for young people. In fact, they have a soft spot for young people who take initiative, who are very determined to learn more, willing to try different things, and so on and so forth, right? So just learn to do this courteously, right? And then high chances you be accepted. Accepted in the sense that they will accept your connection and you are connected to them. Then you can see what they post and they can also see what you post, right? So this is a very, very critical portion, right? So if you can, every week target at least 5 corporate managers to connect to, right? Whether they accept or don't accept, that is not your problem, right? Because they got a choice not to accept you, right? But I would say 2 things will enhance their acceptance. Number 1, if your profile looks professional enough with a lot of enough information about yourself and make yourself as exciting as possible. And number 2, you send them a personalized note when you hit the connect button. Okay. So that is strategy 2. Strategy 3 is to really actively comment and engage their posting, right? So don't just connect with them, but read what they post. And after reading what they post, do comment on it. In fact, I don't mention the name because this is a public session, but there's one person that I noticed do very well when he was an undergraduate. He will actively look for business leaders in Malaysia or corporate managers in Malaysia posting. Then he will comment, "Wow, dear sir, dear Muihan, that was a very good piece that you wrote on human capital. And I really got a lot of information as a business graduate myself. That is very useful for my future." So you put comments in the posting like that, right? So if you do comment on my post and you put a comment like that, I'd be very, very, let me assure you, I would say almost 80% of the time, the author or the professional manager would really check out your profile, okay? Unless the person that you're commenting is a very famous person. So for instance, our MOF, our Minister of Finance, Tengku Zafro, is on LinkedIn. Of course, when Tengku Zafro posts and you comment on Tengku Zafro posts, chances are Tengku Zafro won't check out your LinkedIn profile. But what I'm trying to say is, for the rest of the population, the 80% of us, we will check out your profile, right? And that's where if you do have a very engaging profile, very professional profile, we will take notice of who you are as a person, right? So do that. I will tell you that there is not enough of you doing this. And if you do decide to comment on professional managers posting on LinkedIn, you'll be the top 5 or 10%, right? So to help you to do that, if you do subscribe to our Telegram channel, I've created what you call the hashtag comment challenge. So now currently, I think there is 17 hashtag comment challenge on our Telegram channel. These are posting of professional managers or business owners, which what I call friendly to undergraduates, right? So you can comment on their posting and they won't bite you, all right? Or they won't see you differently. Why I created this challenge is to help all of you, especially if you want to be noticed, to make sure that you form a habit or a cadence. Cadence is I'll say a repeated behavior, that you're very comfortable and confident in commenting on professional managers posting on LinkedIn, right? So you take our challenge, do that 17, if I think it's 17 or 18 currently. I'm trying so that it's more recent, but you can also do the past, nothing wrong with that. They are all still there. So that by the time you finish this 18 posting, you can actively comment on those posts of the people that you aspire to work for in the future, so that they also start noticing you now, right? So don't make the bad mistake of, if you want to look for a job, you only start to do this today. Let's say you want to look for a job tomorrow, you start to do this today. It takes time, so be very realistic. So if you have another, let's say 9 months to graduate, then it's wonderful. If you have another maybe 6 months or so, a stretch, because in the 6 months you got a lot of things to do, but start as soon as possible. That's my advice, right? And I'm not even asking you to do additional work or spend time. What you can do is, if you are already spending time on social media on a weekly basis, just take about 15 minutes of that Facebook, Twitter, TikTok time to invest in LinkedIn, right? So for instance, this one you can check on your phone. The phone got report card. So you count every week, you spend a cumulative on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, blah, 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 3 hours. I'm just asking you to take 15 minutes of that 3 hours to do some of the things that I've just explained. And it should not take you more than 15 minutes a week if you know exactly what to do, right? So hope you do take up these challenges. Right. Number 4 is, of course, to post, okay? And posting should have also some plan. Don't, okay, there is a question. Alia?
There's one question from Encik Ahmad Rizwan Ghazali. He asks, what
Yes.
is Mr. Ko recommendation regarding the amount of our connections in LinkedIn?
Okay.
About your
So,
recommendations.
yeah. So, of course, the answer is as much as possible, but more importantly is as much, what we call, what's the right word? As much, how to say, meaningful. Yeah, the word is as much meaningful connection as possible. What do I mean by meaningful? Meaningful in the sense that if, let's say, you want to hit the connect button with this person, you must have thought of how this person may have an impact to your future career. And similarly, if anybody send you an invite to connect, you also want to ask whether this person will actually enhance your future job search, right? So with that in mind, if it is just as meaningful, then you should have as much as possible. But no point having a lot of connection that is not meaningful. So for instance, okay, many students, because I train more than 10,000 already, come back to me and say, Muihan, just want to check, there's this request for me to connect from a person in Northern America. Should I accept or not? Then I say, what do this person do? Oh, under his profile, he seems like a cryptocurrency trader. So you know for sure that is the case, and we have a lot of documented case of all these investment opportunities or cryptocurrencies. I got nothing against cryptocurrency, don't get me wrong. But as a student, you know that probably these are not the things that will help you in your career. Therefore, connecting with this person may not help in that sense. So you can refuse that, right? And sometimes if you're not sure, you can accept first, then you can remove them later, right? So to the question, where is the number of healthy number? There's no such healthy number. There is only meaningful connection. So for instance, if you have 1,000 connection, and 1,000 connection, 800 of them are not professional managers in the industry that you want to work for, are people from everywhere in the world, and you probably would never meet them or would never have an impact on you, then it's not meaningful, right? I would rather then you have maybe just 200 connections, but of the 200 connections, all these are professional managers in your industry and in your field, right? And because they have an impact on what they will see on their feed, right? So when you post, they will see it. So you have a lot of connections, but those people who see it actually is not related or not impactful or not meaningful, then it doesn't serve the purpose. So I hope that answers that question, right? Yes, any other question, Alia?
From Ahmad Rizwan Ghazali. He asked that Mr. Ko said that we need to message someone after sending the connection request. How about if that people turn off their message buttons?
So when you use LinkedIn to send a connection invite, LinkedIn will automatically ask you to whether you want to put a personalized note, right? So that is automatic, right? So what I'm trying to say is hit the personalized note button rather than to say connect straight. And when you hit the personalized note button, you can actually type in your message. That message will appear on the person's LinkedIn message, right? And he or she cannot turn that off, okay? He or she can either read it, don't agree with it, and just ignore it, right? But what I'm trying to say is when you do that, you increase your chance, because why? We are also very afraid of who you are, and we don't know who you are. You suddenly hit the connect button, and then there's this whole fear of scammers and all that. So that's why personalized notes are very, very important. In fact, I met people on LinkedIn who tell me that, Wihan, I don't accept any connection if there's no personalized note. Yeah. So yeah, do that. I think probably the confusion is this: you cannot LinkedIn message anybody who is not your connection, unless you buy the premium account, all right? So that's the difference. That's the difference. This is not like Facebook. Facebook, you almost can Facebook message anyone on Facebook, but on LinkedIn, you cannot LinkedIn message them if they are not your connection, right? I hope that answers that question. Yeah. Any more, Alia?
There's no question, but I do have question. About the are the impressions of a post that is shared by a person counted in the company page analytics? There is the question.
Okay. So I think need to clarify. Okay. So my focus is very, I can answer this question, but I don't think this question is very useful for undergraduates. Unless you are not an undergraduate, you can comment there. Then at least I know your context. But as an undergraduate, I would really encourage you to focus on your objectives for doing posting or being on LinkedIn. Remember that you are on LinkedIn to look for a job, unless you are not looking for a job. So if you are doing that, and I'm encouraging you to be active, to be posting, to be commenting, right? I'm also asking you not to do things to become the next LinkedIn influencer. In fact, if you become one, then very good. But we are not training you to become the next LinkedIn influencer. We are training you to ensure that you create visibility that help you in your employability. So when you post something, whether the views are low or high, in my opinion, especially as a student or undergraduate, it is not so critical. More critical is who is reading your post. Of course, you can go on a probability game. Higher views mean that higher chance that the people that is relevant should be reading a post. But in my opinion, that shouldn't be the case. Because if not, then you'll be very stuck to create the next viral post. So I have a lot of students who attended my session. After that, they say, oh, after 2 weeks of posting, because you asked us to post, now I get very, very tired and frustrated already. To them is, why are you tired and frustrated? Okay, because they say I might post something that nobody want to read it. So they are trying to create the next viral post, right? So my advice to them is, don't create the next viral post. Your job is not to become the next influencer on LinkedIn. I mean, if you do want to become that, then that's fine, right? But majority of you started to teach this program, my focus is to help you to get a job, not to become an influencer, right? So that is the case. And if that person is not an undergraduate, he can private message me to ask more there, because then the context is very different. So which I want to come back to this point. Maybe if you have a question, Alia, just hold on to it first. Let me come back to this point of posting. So when you do posting, my focus is to share with you to make sure that you post your experiences, your story, as well as your learning on LinkedIn, right? In fact, I will get you to do once a week if you can. So every week you should have a new experience in university. You should have a new learning. You should have a new insight. Yeah. Document that new learning, new insight, new experience on LinkedIn as a posting. And LinkedIn allowed you 1,300 characters to do a posting, and you can actually maximize that 1,300. Now, who reads it or don't read it, that is still secondary. But more importantly, you do it, right? 2 reasons why you need to, in a very, what to just share. I won't give you sample, I don't have time, all right? But let me answer this question, then I come back to show you some samples if I get time, all right? Number one is for profiling purposes. Profiling means that if there's any chance that the future employers get to read this, then they're able to understand your story better. Again, I come back to my CV example. You are very active in clubs and societies, right? In fact, you got 5, 6, 7 clubs and societies. You have participated in different events and so forth. But all this will appear as 1 sentence or 2 sentences in your CV, right? And if I'm an employer reading that 1, 2 sentences while I know what you're doing, I wouldn't be as impressed or see the impact if I'm able to read a story about it, right? So remember, I talk about the search. If let's say I go and search and I find your LinkedIn profile and I scroll to your past posting, I see whatever your CV say. Let's say, for instance, you are the organizer of TechX UPM in year 2019, right? You could be the president or the communication person or whatever, right? That will appear as 1 sentence in your CV. But if I see the posting as the marketing person doing TechX UPM in action with the pictures, with your caption, that visualization is very impactful for me as a reader, or more impactful for me as a reader compared to reading your CV, right? And if you make it a habit to post every week of the different events or different experiences, that will give me a lot of information about you and much more information compared to reading just your 3-page maximum CV, right? Because we always say maximum you should have 3-page CV only, nothing more than that, right? That's one. More importantly, it should be a digital diary. Now, why do I use this word digital diary? Most of us, when we go for interview after we graduated, and assume that is non-COVID time, but in, I think, COVID time, we probably will do virtual interview. But assuming a normal time, you don't go for a virtual interview, you go for face-to-face interview. Let's say we apply for a job, we get shortlisted, we got called up, we get make the appointment, and then we go for interview. I say the interview is at 10 a.m., 10 o'clock in the morning. So probably we arrive 1 hour earlier, 9 a.m., we are there already. And in that 1 hour of waiting time, usually we don't know what to do. If HR or recruitment give you some form to fill in, you probably fill in that form and yeah, you just do that. And we are, as human beings, all of us naturally are very nervous in that 1 hour. And when you are very nervous in that 1 hour, you tend to forget about all the good things and wonderful things of your achievement that you have done in the last 4 years. In fact, I would bet you my last dollar, in your final semester, you will have forgotten all the things that happened in first semester, or the impactful, eventful things that happened in first semester. So challenge yourself, whichever semester you are currently in, do you remember what happened in first semester now, right? So in 4 years, there's a lot of experiences. So there's no way you can remember everything. And if you cannot remember everything, that's where the disadvantage is. Because why? When you go into the interview room for that 1 hour, you're supposed to tell stories about yourself, of all the things that you have learned, all the things that you have experienced, all the things that you have achieved. But if you cannot remember, then it is really sayang lah. Malay say sayang tak boleh to showcase how good you are. So what happens when you do LinkedIn posting on a weekly basis is then it becomes a documentation of all your achievements. And that 1 hour before you enter the interview room, you can quickly open your LinkedIn app on your phone, scroll through all the posting that you have done for the last 3 years. And it keeps, there's no deleting. As many as you can scroll, it will still be there. And you can read some of them to refresh your memory. So by the time you go into the interview room, you know exactly what story to tell, what experiences to share, and then you become more confident, and chances are you will ace the interview, right? So don't do it for others if you find that it's too much of work, but do it for yourself, right? So no need to overthink of, what should I write to impress others, right? I know some of us are very natural in doing posting, but some of us are not, right? Do it to showcase so that you can remind yourself, right? So with that, in fact, some of you, if you say your English is not very proficient and you cannot string sentences together without grammar mistakes, I would also just get you to just do posting in Bahasa Melayu. But please do it in proper BM, not BM Pasar. Do it so that you can remind yourself later on that when you go for interview, these are the things that you have done in first semester, second semester, third semester, and so on and so forth, right? So what are the things that you can post on LinkedIn on the weekly basis? Number one, you should be posting about your final year project, not the final outcome when you binded the thesis, but the week-to-week progress of what you have discovered, what are some of your challenges, what you need to endure, what you need to find, you know. So describe all that, because why? That allows your future employer and recruiters to have a better understanding of how you do problem solving, of how you interact with your stakeholders, with your lecturers, with the survey respondents, with the authorities, whichever that applies, right? That gives them more information. Remember, this is to provide as much information as possible to the potential people that are going to recruit you, versus 3 sentences in your CV, no impact. If I can read 5 postings about your final year project, it is so much more impactful. So first one, final year project, please do posting on that. Second type that you can post is on your internship experience. So if you have a 12 weeks internship experience, do a weekly posting of what you learn in that week. Week 1, who have you met, what you have learned. And this one you need to be careful, because some of the organizations say that you cannot share information, company information publicly or to anyone. You sign what we call an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, right? I'm not asking you to share company information. I'm asking you to share what you learn. Critical, right? So think of 3 things that you learn within that week, do a posting. What other things you can share? So number 3, most important, and why you need to do this, is to share your clubs and societies involvement, all your extra curriculum activities that you do in university. Do a weekly posting on them. In fact, you can even do posting on those that you have participated in year 1 or year 2, right? Or year 3, whichever year that applies, that happened already. You can do retrospect, because on online social media, we have something called hashtag throwback. Hashtag throwback, right? So you can do hashtag throwback. Then you talk in year semester 1, I was part and parcel of the organizing committee for orientation for our diploma holders, whatever. Just put a picture, give a description, so that you can remind yourself of this experience and achievement, right? So these are the 3 things which I encourage you to post. Of course, other things you can post include what type of programs that you attend, what kind of courses done, and so on and so forth. And lastly is, of course, to be consistently focused. You need to start doing today and don't give up, right? It will take you some time before you see results, like anything else. It is not a quick, not quick, it's not a get quick, it's not, you won't see quick results. I will say that. I don't expect quick results. You need to put in some effort, because branding yourself or getting to know professional managers, building relationship is what we call a long tail. So it takes some time, okay? So with that, I'm done. Maybe, yeah. If we have any other questions, I know I hit the dot on 4:30 already.
Nampaknya masa pun telah menceburi kita, Mr. Ko. So ada apa-apa last tips or share from Mr. Ko sendiri?
So 2 things just to end. Maybe please feel free to join our LinkedIn Telegram channel, because all the tips that I shared today is just surface. The details are in that channel. And I do this is really to just help as many university students as possible to really get, to be better positioned on LinkedIn, right? Secondly, we also have a Facebook page called Prime for Success. You can also follow that. In Prime for Success, we share different materials or content. Basically, it has some LinkedIn tips, but more importantly, we look at interview tips, market tips, as well as job opportunities for internship as well for fresh graduate. And we are not a recruiter. We just take whatever advertisement that we see that has requirements for fresh graduates or intern, then we will just reproduce it in our site so that we want to help as many people to get a job as possible. And last advice to finish this off, that was advertisement earlier. It's really that I would really encourage all of you to think about the job and the people that you want to work for in the next 2 or 3 years today. And not only think about it, you need to take action today because of the competition, as how I described in the start of this section, of this slot. It is really very competitive. Don't be delusional to think that with a degree you will get a job in today's market in Malaysia. In fact, chances are you won't get a job if you don't do anything differently. And that differentiation now needs to be start learning how to interact with corporate people, and the earlier you start, the better. And I always find that LinkedIn is a very safe place to start, and it also helps to build your confidence. All right. So with that, thank you very much. Once again, thank you to Chem for hosting me. And yeah, all the best to all of you, especially those looking for a job.
Thank you, Mr. Ko. Demikianlah perkongsian yang telah disampaikan oleh Mr. Ko sendiri, yang terlalu banyak strategi yang telah dikongsikan, dan antaranya bagaimana kita nak start account LinkedIn kita sendiri, how to we connect to others, dan banyak lagi. Jadi diharapkan para penonton, terutama mahasiswa dan mahasiswi kita, dapat memanfaatkan segala input yang telah disampaikan sebentar tadi. Seterusnya dapat kita apply dalam kehidupan kita. Terus buka akaun LinkedIn kita, tak kiralah anda adalah seorang graduan ataupun pelajar sendiri. Dengan itu berakhirlah bicara ilmu kita pada petang ini. Jangan lupa temu janji kita esok hari pada jam 10 hingga 11.30 pagi dengan topik Brand Yourself in the New Norm, How to Impress Your Future Employer. Tentunya bersama-sama dengan penceramah yang tidak lari jauh hebatnya dengan Mr. Ko Mui Han kita hari ini. Juga sekalung budi dan jutaan terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada Encik Ko sendiri dan penonton di rumah kerana setia bersama-sama dengan kami sepanjang kami ke udara. Dan jangan lupa untuk like and follow FB page CEM UPM bagi mendapatkan segala informasi sepanjang program kita berlangsung. Dengan ini saya mengundurkan diri, sampai jumpa dan jangan lupa teruslah menjaga SOP yang ditetapkan kerajaan bagi memutuskan rangkaian COVID-19. Malaysia, kita belum menang tapi kita pasti menang. Sekian, Assalamualaikum, salam maaf dan salam kita jaga kita. #WeLoveUPM.